Hello, everyone, and welcome to Unified Purpose, the place where we share compassionate tales of inspiring community spirit. Thank you so much for joining me today. And today I am joined with my lovely guest, Luisa Gomez, who has formerly worked as media and communication advisor for CECI and is here to talk to us about her experience today. Thank you so much for joining me, Luisa. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
I am super excited to have you on today. We both have discovered before this podcast and during that we are gigglers, so
Yeah.
it'll be a fun time. But first, Luisa, I want you to tell me all about yourself. So tell me a fun fact unrelated to your work entirely, and then tell me about your work entirely. So I want to hear how you got to this point, how you got into the nonprofit sector, and kind of what you enjoy about it, and what led you to today.
Okay. So, fun fact, I actually speak three languages currently. And a fourth one that is not as good, but I say that I speak it because I do not that well. And on my free time, I do learn languages. So I've learned a little
That's
bit of
really
sign
awesome.
language in ASL actually, and a little bit of LSQ, which is long distance to Quebec, because Quebec and English American Sign Language is a little bit different. So
That makes a lot of sense.
yeah, and so it's like I just enjoy learning languages, so that's what I do on my free time. I was currently learning Mandarin. It's hard. Do not ask me. Do not ask me to pronounce anything. I have my friends correcting me currently every time.
At least you have friends to correct you. That's really cool. I mean, like, it
Yes,
probably
I
helps to
do.
have the conversation going.
Exactly. But like among the few things that I know how to say is like I am not American, and I don't like running. So, two that
Me
are
neither.
so and what got me into the nonprofit sector is just because I always worked in fields like in well since I was a kid pretty much. It's like I always did volunteer work. I always enjoyed helping people, and when I started working it was pretty much in the financial sector. I was like mostly customer service for banks, and I kept on growing in that field. But I didn't enjoy it as much. So as soon as I went into the nonprofit, it's like, oh, this was
This
it.
is so refreshing.
Yeah. No, it's just for my soul to feel fulfilled. It's not.
Mhm.
It's just for me to feel happy in what I do. It's like, and I need to feel stimulated, like in mentally. So that's one of the fields that I felt comfortable in. So I studied communications in Spain, and from there I've been nonstop working in the sector.
Oh, that's beautiful. I think that it's really nice to feel fulfilled in your work. It's not something, unfortunately, that I feel is so common anymore. And especially with nonprofit work, it's sometimes really hard to because sometimes you don't necessarily see the fruits of your labor at least immediately, or maybe not at all, depending on what kind of position you're in. And it can be disheartening and sometimes so you're susceptible to burnout because of certain things. So it's really nice to hear a refreshing story of when people are very feeling that fulfillment because it is sometimes difficult to feel it all the time.
It is. It is completely difficult. Like I wouldn't recommend it to anybody, because the way that I explain it. Usually, it's like every job has its challenges, but you
Mhm.
have to choose the challenges that you want to tackle, and
Mhm.
you have to keep in mind that is like maybe your input is going to be like a drop of water in the ocean. But if we're multiple people put in our little drop of water, then it can just help to grow. So
Yeah.
that's how I see it. And these are challenges that I chose to tackle and that I like, and I feel at ease. So that's why I'm here.
No, I really like that. I love the drop of water analogy because it is true. It's sometimes it's hard to see that your what is important to you is important in general.
Yes,
But if you continue to work towards it and you have other people to support this, um, it just it really does help.
exactly, exactly.
So, how did working at CECI kind of shape your approach to digital communication specifically? Because you had experience in other fields from doing this. So, especially with fostering community online, which is something that I think people find very difficult with like the more digital age now. How has this shaped you?
Well, at CECI, one of the advantages is that I was in Africa, and Africa is one of the hubs when it comes to digital communications because not everybody's going to have a computer, but everybody has a phone, and
That's
most
so
of the
interesting.
people, yeah. And so when it comes to communicating like online, that this is one of the reasons why I went there, is just because the way that people gather as a community through like social media, through WhatsApp, and through all these platforms is incredible, and it's very fast. Just to give you an example, every emerging business that is going to be want to promote their services in Rwanda, they're going to start with either Instagram or like WhatsApp, and it
Hmm.
grows so fast. One of them is a community that I always keep it as an example because it was just for expats. That one specifically was just for expats.
Hmm.
In 48 hours, it filled all the groups, all the community because everybody is online. And so they're very connected. In there's a misconception to think like, oh no, they don't use it. It's like they do a lot and better than most of the people, just because it's a necessity.
That's
So
so interesting.
yeah, and I loved as much as like to be able to grow the communities there. I mostly advise the organizations, like the partner organizations for CECI. So they were doing already a good job. Like, don't get me wrong, they were doing a great job. I was just there to just like advise on little things. Like, let's say they were doing one of the organizations, they had at least like 7,000 followers, but they were targeting the youth. So it was just like changed a little bit like the way that they were targeting. But the job per se, it was pretty good.
Hmm.
So I enjoyed my mandate over there. I enjoyed working with all the organizations. I hope that they're doing well right now. But yeah, they were great.
How was working with like partner organizations without kind of being sensitive, but also trying to put your input without stepping on any toes? I think that sometimes is very difficult for people in kind of any space, but nonprofit space specifically.
Well, once you get there, one of the tasks that I give myself every time that I go to a new country, it's pretty much to learn as much as possible from the people, from the culture, and from what they have done so far, and to listen to what they have to say. Because when you come as an advisor, you cannot just put your input and say, okay, I think this is how it should be. No,
Mm.
that never works anywhere.
Hmm.
The way is like pretty much like asking questions, asking the people, asking like the beneficiaries as well as like, what do you need? What would you like to see? And is your organization, like the partner organization, providing you what you want, right? And most of the time, yes, they are, but the messages don't come as often, or maybe they're not as clear, or maybe it's just sometimes the language. Like you're
Hmm.
targeting maybe people that are older, and in Rwanda, specifically in Rwanda, people who are boomers or Gen X, they're going to be more francophone, so they're going to speak French,
Hmm.
but they also speak Kinyarwanda. So if you put in a message in English trying to target them, it's going to be
Have to reach
a
them.
clash. Exactly. So those are the little tweaks that I came to just observe and see how we can fix it. But the messages per se were pretty good. So the idea, once you get into an organization, a partner organization, listen to them. Listen to what they have to say. Listen to what the work they have done because they are amazing. Like when you think about everything that they have done for the number of years they have been in operation, it's incredible. And every time that I would visit another partner organization, they would tell me their story, and I would be every time amazed. So I would ask them, how can I support you? What do you need? And most of the time, they already have somebody in communications that would tell me exactly like, hey, we need just to know how to use this on Canva, or like, how would you target this audience specifically, or can you correct this strategy? And that's how I would work with them, and we would work perfectly well. And sometimes if they needed more hands-on support, so I did give some trainings when it came to photography and for social media strategies. But it was general because they already were doing a good job, but it's just to have it concrete, and so they can keep it and use it in the future.
No, I love that. I think that it is really important to, in a way, know your place when you're coming into a place that is new, and just like taking in what is happening and listening rather than just thinking that you know best. And it's an important lesson for anywhere that you go in an professional environment, but especially when your purpose is to help people. It's kind of crazy insensitive to go in and be like, I believe you should be helped in this way, and
Yeah.
just be completely tone deaf to
Oh
the
yeah.
actual issue at hand.
And a big misconception that people have is that they think that they're not doing a good job. Most of the organizations, they say like, oh, we have somebody, but like we're not as present on social media because we don't have millions of followers. And then you see that they have 7,000 or they have 5,000, and I'm like, that's a lot.
Love, yeah.
That's still a lot. And most of the time it's because they have only one person handling 7 social media platforms and doing the events and doing like the copyright and doing like the corrections for anything. So the poor person is like, I'm not performing at the maximum of my capacity. And I come there and I'm like, you are at the maximum of your capacity on your own, and you're doing great.
Yeah.
So most of the time, my advice was also like, hire somebody else to support this one person.
No,
So-
that is that's exactly why we work with nonprofits specifically, because we're like, marketing teams, design teams are spread way too thin. Let's help them by them being able to hire a service to do it for them at like an extremely low cost, because nonprofits are so hard on themselves too, on top of it, of not being able to achieve the impossible with such little resources. And that's like exactly why nonprofits exist in the first place, because there's such little resources for so many things. So it's just, it is so wonderful to get that support, but you also have to be realistic of like what you're capable of.
Yes. One of the organizations I went to visit them, and they were 1 hour away from Kigali, so already 1 hour away from the capital city of Rwanda. They were a farmers organization. I think it was like a syndicate for Ingabuk syndicate, and they only had, from what I saw, is like they only had like a Twitter that was very active, and website, which was still active but not as active as their Twitter. They asked me, what can we do better? They were the ones who had 7,000 followers. This is a syndicate on farmers for cassava. Like, how can you make 7,000 followers out of just talking about cassava on Twitter? On Twitter.
If you have that many, that's kind of unbelievable to get that many even from doing that. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like, I cannot teach you anything. Teach me something. How did you do that? He got people interested in farmers, in cassava farmers. And this guy was incredible. Like, in French, we have an expression that we say that chapeau is like, I give my hat to you, like, right? Like, raise my hat to you. I don't know how to translate
the tip of the hat to you. Like, I think it might be like a
I only know it in French. It's like chapeau, like congratulations.
Hats off. There's definitely a phrase of it. There's definitely a phrase for it in English, and I don't know what it is.
It has to be that. But
I know what you mean.
They were doing so great that as I went there and I'm like, there's nothing I can teach you. You teach me something. How did you even do that?
Yeah, that's incredible.
And so he assisted to my trainings and all, but it was just to reinforce whatever he already knew. So he was more of a support during that training. So this is what I encounter a lot over there. So you're right. They're way too hard on themselves. Way too hard on themselves.
And well, it's also wonderful to acknowledge like what you can learn from them too, because even if you're coming in to be support or to help, there's also so many things that you're able to learn that can help you in your own work. Like, how did that guy do that? That's awesome. Oh my God. And
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, and it's just, it's very almost humbling to find out that you can learn just as much as maybe like a smaller nonprofit or partner can learn from you, because that is true. It's like a teacher can always learn from a student, so to speak.
Yes, yes. And already when I come to these organizations, I come with an open mind and I come with a student mindset. Because sometimes, like like a student, like any student, you know, you're gonna have your peers that are going to be better than you in some things, and some others you're gonna be better than them, right?
Mhm.
Because it depends on everybody's strengths and weaknesses. So when I go there, like I usually go with this mindset of being a student and like and just listening, trying to see what they're doing and if what I have can help or contribute to what they need, right? Because most of the time they have like these big ass plans and
Mhm.
I'm just like, wow, this is impressive. So what do you want me to do then?
Yeah, like how do we execute this? Mhm.
Exactly. And honestly, I it was a really great experience, and I've learned a lot from them. A lot when it comes to like interest, how to get people's interest in line on social media, on Twitter. Twitter was my weakness because like among all the social media that I handle, like that I've learned throughout the years, I barely use Twitter. But it was
Mhm.
in Rwanda that I was taught how to not only speak there or like how to get the people interested. And again, through this organization that was talking about cassava, like, can you even imagine? I'm still like in shock on how good he was doing. Well, not
Yeah.
shock, but it's like, why did you even ask for me? You were doing
Yeah,
great.
like,
That
yeah,
was my
you don't need more. I mean, like, we can always use more, but you're incredible.
exactly. Exactly. Just hire somebody else, teach what you already know, and continue. You're doing great.
Well, speaking of that experience that you had, because you said that you had such a wonderful time learning from this experience and being able to have it in general, what is a heartwarming experience or like response that maybe was surprising that you had from um, putting out a digital campaign specifically, like something that you really remember?
Well, one of the organizations asked me, they actually went to my office and asked my boss to ask me to help them with an event that they were inviting all the stakeholders to present what they were doing, and they wanted to have them have the event covered on social media.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, perfect. I am alone. Who do you have there that can help me? And at that point, they didn't have a specific person that spoke English to help me with the campaign.
Mhm.
So they ended up letting me have somebody else. And so I hired like an intern to help me out for this campaign. We worked so hard because one thing you have to know when it comes to like sub-Saharan Africa and like other places of the world of the global south, often things are done last minute, right? Often.
Mhm.
And usually I can manage. There's no problem. I always work last minute, so it's perfect for me.
Good. We work good under pressure.
Exactly. Exactly. And so we had a week to create a full on strategy to show it off on social media. And we decided to focus on Instagram because that's where our target market was.
Mhm.
We started creating posts. We started like posting more reels and creating little things here and there. And by the time that the event was approaching, because it was like on Wednesday, Thursday, we went to see the room where it was going to be, and one of my colleagues started like just making jokes, but like pretending to be like a host or like somebody inviting the public into the events. But because I know him, I started filming him. So and I used that footage to create like a little bit more of noise on social media,
Oh.
and he is quite known in the region. So by using his image and his words, because he's very well spoken. That's one of the
Mhm.
things. My colleague is very well spoken. Even when he's joking, he sounds very serious and like legit. So
Mhm.
that's why I was able to use it.
Oh, that's perfect. It was
Oh
like
yeah,
an impromptu. You just caught this and you realized, oh my God.
yeah.
Genius.
We received well, the event happened, and we even had a live event. The big boss ended up letting me know that she received calls from the general public telling like how can they participate into this event, who was a very closed event, and she had calls nonstop like during Friday, and we had an increase of visibility of 25,000% for that one event. Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
yeah. It was
Wow.
incredible, but it was also part like the whole team, right? It was
Yeah.
me participating and showing, filming the right the right moments, but the
Mhm.
team organizing it, the people speaking, the showcase of all the things that they have accomplished throughout the years. It was incredible. So it was a team effort, but it was incredible to have such a positive response to the point that they were calling my boss, telling her, "I was like, can we participate? At what time is it? Where can we buy the tickets?" And it was a private event, but we just wanted to showcase it, right?
Oh.
So that's one of the best memories that I have, because it was the work of everybody together, and we were able to increase the visibility of that organization.
Oh, that is incredible. Is from that experience, did it kind of teach you to like keep an eye out for like unexpected like digital opportunities? Like, did it kind of make you realize more little moments that maybe should be showcased and recorded for some kind of advertising or marketing materials?
Yes, I constantly have my phone, like in some, like in all the places that when I am about to cover anything, like, or if I'm invited to any event, I have my phone and my charger, and I make sure that if I see something that seems funny or that is going to be funny, because once I get to know my colleagues, I know their habits, their way of speaking, and I just follow them. Like this colleague, I know that he's a great public speaker, and I know that whenever, even when he's joking, he's great. So that's why I followed him, because I
Mhm.
knew at one point he was going to say something like that. At one point he was going to say something like that. And that's how, once I get to know my colleagues and how their personalities, I just follow them around. And when something like that happens, I just take it on video and I make sure that I use it in another way. And most of the time, they know that I ask for permission before posting anything. So there's no problem there.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a good point. But I completely understand what you're saying. I truly think, and I talk to marketers every day, I truly think that there's like an eye that like the best marketers I think have for finding material. And sometimes it's not necessarily like as it's like adjacent to what you're talking about in the idea that they'll watch something, it's not even a commercial, just like something, or they'll see something happen and they'll be like, I can make a campaign out of that. And it's something so unbelievably random, or like it doesn't seem to be related to marketing at all, and they find this genius idea from just that experience. And I think those are such wonderful stories to hear about, because you're like, how did you come up with this? But it's so wonderful when it works out.
Yeah, it's just being prepared. It's just having your camera ready when you know that you have people that are like very extroverted. Once you hang out around the extroverts, you just have to have your camera and something's gonna happen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you just have to you have to be fun. You have to get the ball rolling and understand that this is there's experiences everywhere that we can record and that can be made into some kind of content that can work really well for that organization or business.
Exactly, exactly.
So having all these experiences in like different international contexts, is there anything that you feel is like works universally for marketing like across the board? I know that's very hard because marketing campaigns vary so differently in for which organization you're referring to, but like something that you just think has worked really well.
When we segment our target markets, when we talk about Gen Z, we talk about millennials, we talk about Gen Alpha. What has really surprised me? Well, not really, but yes, it still surprised me is that in every country that I've been in, like the segments of the generations are very visible, and a boomer is going to be a boomer no matter the culture. Is there still going to be a boomer?
I'm gonna tell my parents that.
But even if we talk about millennials or Gen Z, because I'm a millennial, but like I work a lot with Gen Zs because
Mhm.
most of the time they are the ones with the most ideas, and not I don't know that many millennials who are in communications or social media.
Mhm.
So most of
We
them
got
are
that excitement. We haven't burned out it yet in the nonprofit sector.
most of the millennials that I know, they're in marketing, like with the numbers and all. And sometimes I need the marketing ones, like marketing. So
There is a very big difference. I completely understand.
exactly. And so, every time that I've worked with Gen Z in every country, they're the same. Like they're going to speak a different language, but the mentality, the mannerisms, the stare is the same. The Gen Z stare is the same.
I hate to be associated with this concept, but I understand it entirely. But I completely get what you're saying. Like the behavior of certain interest groups sometimes just translates so easily to different cultures. Like, of course, language can always be a barrier in a lot of ways, but it's something that like the more you kind of get exposure to different cultures, I think the more you kind of realize that everyone's a lot more similar than you think. It's just a way of communicating those similarities.
Yeah, we are more similar in so many ways that we think. And so that's something that yes, I would say like we shouldn't focus so much on the differences, because the more that I get to know other people, like the more similar we are. And currently, I am currently in Bolivia, so I've seen like those similarities in people. And it's like, hey, we people in Rwanda did the same thing. People in Senegal did the same thing. We see the same. So
I think that's a beautiful lesson all across the board, not even just for marketing, but just for people to understand and have more empathy for others, to realize that we really are all the same.
Exactly.
Not to take away from your very unique human experience that we all have.
Exactly. And so what makes us different is what enriches our culture and everything, but we're more similar than different.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that is a extremely wholesome concept that will lead me into this final question to be more future looking about everything that you're doing now. So what I like to ask, and sometimes it's hard to get into the doomy gloomies of some things that happen in the nonprofit world. I want to end this on a happy note of what are you excited about for the future?
What am I excited about?
It's making you think about it now.
It's making me think about it. Honestly, at this point, I am very excited to get to know more places, more people, and see how we can grow together. Because as much as like I advise, I like to receive advice too, and I like to learn from others. So I can't wait to see what other places are going to bring to my knowledge.
Well, that's lovely. And I think a person like you being able to like have all this empathy and an open mind towards so many different cultures and people, I'm sure that you're going to be set up for success in any scenario that you're in. So I loved having you on the podcast today. You were such a joy. You were so fun and giggly, and I appreciate that we're both going to be showing up cackling on the mic. So
Yeah.
So I very much appreciate you joining me today. Thank you so much for sharing your wholesome experience while also sharing your knowledge. I'm sure that I know I appreciated it, but I'm sure that our audience will as well.
Well, it was a pleasure. And please, if you want to follow me, because I'm going to self-plug my Instagram.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it'll be in the description. Don't even worry, guys.
Description below. If you want to see where I've been or what I'm up to, like I'll be more than happy to answer questions in the future.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And that'll be in the description if anyone wants to check out Luisa and what she's doing. Please do, and you'll be able to see this when it comes out. Thank you, everyone, so much for joining us. I hope you have a lovely day, and thank you for watching.